Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Infinity, and this is Magnetize Yourself, where we talk about life, love, spirituality, and of course, the law of attraction. In today's video, we are doing a reading and energy update for our beautiful collective here on YouTube. So thank you so much for tuning in today and sharing your beautiful light and energy wherever you are in the world. I am still currently in Hawaii, so that's where I am recording from today, and we are getting some of the most gorgeous weather, so I'm really soaking up the sunshine and all the good energy. Also, as a bit of an aside, thank you so much to all of you who shared comments wishing me well on my travels, and also to those of you who left me recommendations of places to explore and see while I am here. And I am also really excited to announce the winner of our $500 giveaway. It was for a hotels.com gift card that the winner can use to book a trip somewhere. And this was a giveaway in the comment section under one of my recent videos. So I will be announcing that winner very soon, within the next couple days, most likely. But anyway, I want to go ahead and jump into the messages. This is one of those reading videos where I really don't know what is going to be coming up in the reading. So I'm really just going to be leaving things open-ended, flowing with the messages, and letting the energy kind of guide the reading here. Okay, so also, Happy New Year of 2026. I am recording this on New Year's Day, but it won't be posted until the 2nd. So let me know how your year has been starting off, if you've been doing any kind of personal ritual or anything of that nature to set intentions or create some kind of vision for 2026. Although I will say that messages I've been receiving as downloads recently have been related to this idea that whenever we set really rigid goals or timelines or deadlines for ourselves, we begin to create parameters around how the magic of the universe can work through us and in our lives. And so what I've really been discovering is that there's so much power in essence, kind of deleting those goals, meaning deleting the idea that things have to look a specific way or happen in a specific time frame, and to instead lean into the idea that I am aligning with the highest version of whatever this is. So for example, if it's your love life, affirming to yourself, I am aligning with the highest vibrational outcomes for me in my love life, whatever that looks like in the physical realm. And this is so powerful because, and of course you can use this in all areas of your life, not just in love, but it essentially puts you right in sync with the power of the universe, because you aren't putting limiters or parameters around that power. And this actually can allow you to manifest such in a more effortless way than going about it by setting rigid goals and timelines and deadlines, because you are untethering yourself from any one potential timeline, and in doing so, really allowing your highest timeline to take form. But this also requires a great level of surrender, because when you do this, when you really affirm to yourself and to the universe, no matter how it looks, no matter what the specifics look like, I am committing to my highest version of self, and I'm releasing the outcomes, I'm releasing the details. It takes so much courage and an element of surrender to really have that headspace when it comes to your goals and dreams and visions. But it's also really powerful because it puts you in sync with the universal forces that can coordinate your life in more magical ways than you could ever even really begin to construct or imagine consciously. It's like you're working with this energy that transcends our own consciousness, our own logical perspective. So that's really a message that I just wanted to start out with today. I even wrote in my journal, like, in quotation marks, 2026, the year I deleted all of my goals. And I really feel that we're going to look back as a collective as we're entering 2027 at the end of this year and realize that the most powerful thing we've done is really delete the idea that things have to look or show up a very specific set way, and to allow ourselves to get in sync with the unlimited power of the universe to coordinate our lives in more magical ways than we ever could have maybe even imagined from that conscious perspective. So that was just a little bit of rambling from me, but hopefully it connected with someone. So here we have as the first card here, the Four of Swords in the upright position. I'm definitely sensing a collective here. By the way, I do channel into many different specific threads of energy, collectives, groups of people. So always use your intuition through these readings and only take what resonates with you in a personal and intuitive way. But I'm getting the sense here of someone resting and regrouping. I'm picking up that there is someone who's been in a state of deep introspection. And there's a message coming up about how you have to mold the energy of the vision in your mind first. And so the sense that I get is that there may be someone here who, from a physical perspective, has looked more stuck or more stagnant. It may appear as though things aren't necessarily, quote unquote, moving forward in the physical, and yet you've been doing something really powerful in your mind and in your energy because you've been molding some kind of vision into place, like through your mind. Now, you may be doing this consciously, but in many ways, I feel you're doing this unconsciously, meaning you may not even necessarily be thinking about the specifics of that plan or vision, but you've been preparing your energy field in a certain kind of way that is allowing that outcome or allowing that vision to unfold. And right as I was saying that, we have the Nine of Cups, which is the wish fulfillment card in the traditional tarot. So what I'm getting here is that you are aligning with your wish fulfillment timeline, with the timeline where all of your dreams are coming true. But this seems to be something that is coming together first in the energetic realm. So the message I'm getting is, yes, for some of you, this may involve specifics. So you may suddenly find yourself inspired to certain goals or ideas or strategies. And I'm seeing something about someone writing down these ideas to really solidify them. Maybe there's a message in that for someone, like writing down your ideas as they occur to you can be really, really powerful for you to really solidify and lock in that energy. But I'm also getting a message here that even if you are not consciously receiving ideas that you're able to literally write down, you have to understand that if you've been in this state of introspection, resting, regrouping, there is something powerful happening in your energy, even if it's not happening at the conscious level. There's a reason you're being guided to that period of time of rest, because behind the scenes, beneath the surface, subconsciously, it's almost like you are being regrouped or reorganized energetically into this brand new vision. And I'm hearing that this vision is going to be so much more aligned, but it's also requiring a huge amount of courage because it feels like it is a completely different way of like thinking, being, existing, creating, working, whatever this is related to. It feels like this is a whole new, in a way, like a whole new level of existence, a higher level of existence. And as a result of that, you're going to be able to experience higher caliber, higher vibrational experiences in this life. But at the same time, it feels so different from anything that you've done or envisioned in the past. So it's like at the same time, I feel these two extreme emotions within you, this immense inspiration and excitement and love and feeling of possibility. But on the other hand, I also feel this trepidation and this fear and this hesitancy. And so if this message is for you, you may actually find yourself at times flipping between those two mindsets. And with the Two of Wands upright, I feel like this represents you flipping into like the old mindset, the old version of yourself, and this new version of you that is emerging but hasn't fully solidified yet. And again, it is solidifying in your energy field behind the scenes, but it's a process. It's taking time. And it's almost like that vision has to be energetically set in place first. And then the physical will follow suit, whether that's you being inspired to certain actions, things progressing forward in certain ways, opportunities or ideas presenting themselves to you in an inspired fashion. However those physical manifestations come in, I feel that the energy has to be fully like constructed and aligned first. And that's what's happening right now behind the scenes. I also keep getting messages for someone who's felt the need to heavily withdraw from people around them or from their environment or their physical life, just to really sit with themselves, maybe to introspect consciously, or maybe just to be alone in your own energy. And this isn't a coincidence. This is you subtly, but very intuitively aware that you need this time and space in solitude to really allow for an inner process of transformation. And that inner process of transformation is this vision that seems to be coming into form, again, for many of you behind the scenes, without you even being consciously aware of it. I'm getting that sometimes you might suddenly feel really tired out of the blue, or like you need to nap or rest or sleep more. And you may be wondering why, because nothing physically seems to really add up to why you would be feeling that way. But trust yourself in those moments, because that's actually you sensing internally that there is a deeper process of transformation that is happening through you and within you. And so you being guided to rest is you listening to a bodily intuition signal that is telling you to slow down, to allow this deeper process of energy realignment that's happening subconsciously within you. Essentially, you are facilitating that unconscious but very important process through allowing yourself the time, the space, the rest that you feel guided to. So here with the 9 of Wands in the upright position, this speaks to fatigue, feeling worn down, feeling tired. But then the Ace of Cups is about a new beginning. You know what I'm getting? Two very opposite energies. And I feel as though that old version of you, that old way of doing things, is beginning to feel very resistant. And you're going to notice this with every cell of your being. When you try to put yourself back in that box or that old mold that you've already outgrown, when you try to do things in the old way that you used to do them, that used to work for you, I'm hearing input, output. Like you used to be able to input a certain set of actions or routines or things and output a certain specific result. But what I'm getting is that those actions you once inputted are now feeling very heavy and resistant. That is your intuition signaling to you that they're no longer in alignment for you at this level. And ironically, even if you were to force yourself to push through that tiredness and that resistance and perform those actions successfully, they still wouldn't bring to you your desired result, even if they brought you those results in the past, because your energy has shifted to a higher level. And I've compared this to how when you have a nicer, more updated computer and you try to run outdated computer programs on that new system, it will crash the system because you require higher, finer, more calibrated programs. Your energy system is the same way. But on the same token, at the same time, on the flip side of this equation, this also means that these ways of doing things that are starting to feel more effortless or more fun or exhilarating or exciting will lead you down pathways that will bring you enormous thriving and success and bring about, I'm hearing, even more than the results that you desired. But the thing about those things is sometimes the actions that you're going to be inspired to take at this point are going to be visions that you actually had years or even decades ago. But in the past, you may have tried to take those actions and you weren't seeing results from them. It's almost like there are two different sides of this equation. On the one side, things that used to bring you results in the old world, ways that you used to do things, will start feeling more resistant, and then they won't even bring you the results you desire. But other actions that feel effortless to you, that you feel inspired to, even if these actions are things that you felt inspired to in the past and didn't see a result from, oftentimes those exact same actions will actually bring results to you now, because it's almost like all along you were getting inspired to actions that your system wasn't aligned for yet or prepared for yet. And so you may have tried to take those actions in the past and they didn't work for you, not because they weren't the right actions, but your energy wasn't prepared for them. But I literally was seeing a train that like switches tracks, and I feel like you've switched tracks. And I feel like you've switched tracks in your own life where the old track, the old pathway, the old way of doing things is no longer accessible to you and will no longer bring you the same results. But a new pathway is opening up to you where actions that you may have once felt inspired to in the past that didn't work out will actually bring results this time around because your energy has shifted to that higher level. But the most important message of guidance that I'm getting here is that you can trust the way that these actions and things feel. That when something feels more effortless and harmonic for you and easeful for you, and when you perform that action, it feels like it puts you right into the flow state. It's effortless, almost as easy as like breathing or speaking or existing. That is how you know that it is really in alignment for you. But when it feels resistant or harsh or cold or like rigid in some kind of way, or like it wears you down, that is a sign that you're trying to run down that old track, but your train, so to speak, has already switched tracks to a different way of doing things. So you can trust those internal intuitive signals above all else when it comes to this. But with the Ace of Cups, yeah, I see this representing like a brand new beginning for you. And I'm hearing follow where your heart feels the most open. So when we talk about these signals being fed to you from your intuition, the greatest signal of all seems to be how you feel in your own heart space. When something is really connecting with your heart, when it's eliciting an emotion within you, and it feels connected to you in like that emotionally charged space within yourself, that is the number one sign that it is in alignment for you, that it is going to bring about the results that you desire. But I'm getting that the opposite is true for the opposite side as well, that when you feel like you have to close your heart to do an action or to connect with a person or to be somewhere, you feel like you have to shut off that heart-centered energy ever so slightly. Well, I'm hearing nothing's ever really ever so slightly when it comes to closing off your heart, because even if it feels like you're just subtly closing yourself off in certain small ways on the surface, it actually impacts you tremendously, especially someone like you who is so energetically sensitive and in tune. But what I'm getting is that this new pathway opening up for you that's more powerful than any pathway you've ever been presented with before, but also probably scares you a little bit because it feels so big and so new. This new pathway is being given to you one step at a time as you follow your highest heart energy, as you follow the pathway that makes your heart feel the most open, that allows you to stay the most emotionally connected to yourself. And for some of you, you may actually have literal tools in your life that help you to gauge how connected you are with your own heart. For me personally, it's always been songwriting, because as I've said before, I found that whenever I was trying to close off my heart, even ever so slightly, like trying to lie to myself in some way or make something work that I knew was wrong, I would notice that one of the first signs I was doing that is that I would no longer be able to write songs. I would no longer feel inspired to sing and to songwrite. Whereas on the opposite side of that equation, whenever I was really lit up and happy and excited about life, I would notice that songwriting inspiration would just start pouring through me so naturally, effortlessly, and even just in the most spontaneous moments. And that for me was always the indicator. I mean, I didn't describe it this way at the time, but I now realize it was really an indicator of how open my heart chakra was, because songwriting for me is that tool that keeps me connected with my own emotional energy. But I know that for everyone, it's different. So for you, it could be painting, or it may even be your own inner dialogue, or like your sense of humor, or your, I don't know, your laughter, certain tools in your life, like certain indicators or things for you personally, where when you're disconnected from your heart, you notice a change in those things. So I don't know what that is for you. I would love to know from you in the comments what that is. If you do want to share anything, I do love the community aspect on this channel so much. And I'm so grateful to all of you who do participate in our community, which, by the way, if my energy does resonate for you, I would love for you to subscribe to the channel, join our beautiful community of like-minded, conscious, creative beings here on YouTube. So what I'm seeing here as well is the High Priestess. Yeah, I'm hearing staying connected to your intuition is non-negotiable at this point. And this is very much related to you staying connected to your open heart chakra energy, because when you're following your intuition, you are doing so by staying connected to your heart and letting those, I'm hearing heart pulses, almost like impulses, but from your heart, to guide you into the next step. That is you following your intuition through your heart. But what I'm getting is that it's now non-negotiable for you. It's like everything about your energy is now requiring you to stay connected to your own intuitive voice within yourself. And if you ever try to stray from that pathway, I'm hearing that not only are you going to find that, it feels very resistant to you energetically, emotionally, you'll probably feel very tired and get a lot of backlash, but also you literally will not be able to sustain that pathway that veers you away from your heart. Okay, so let's go ahead and reshuffle the cards here and just see what else wants to come through. So give me just one moment here. Now, there is something that I've wanted to talk about, but I may give this its whole own space in a separate video if there's interest on this. But it's about how to cultivate an abundance mentality from this 5D perspective. And I feel like this is such a powerful topic and one that I don't hear talked about too often, although I hear a lot more material about it now than in the past. But essentially, when you have an abundance mentality, which by the way, this isn't just related to money or finances, it's related to everything, your relationship with food, with your body, with your work, with your lifestyle, with literally everything, your love life, your relationships, friendships. Having an abundance mentality is going to become increasingly powerful when it comes to harnessing this 5D energy that we are collectively shifting into. Because this energy, it is so magical and so high frequency. And I know that many of you feel that. It's like you feel this sense of unlimited possibility, but it's very, very resistant to being like controlled or quote unquote manipulated in certain ways, pushed in certain directions. It likes to work through us, and it does have this ability to bring to us some of the most magical, beautiful experiences and outcomes and synchronicities and like true just magic in our lives. And I know that many of you have been feeling that and experiencing that. But on the other side of this, it's also an energy that is very resistant to being like controlled or pushed into rigid boxes or put onto very specific timelines. And often when we try to do that, when we approach things from more of that lack mentality where we are going to control and push and action ourselves into a certain place using this energy, it often fights back in a sense, and it hits back in the form of like this backlash. And so increasingly finding ways to be more light and open and surrendered when it comes to working with this energy is going to help you to align yourself with some of the most magical, beautiful, high vibrational outcomes imaginable. But the key here is when it comes to working with 5D energy, we have to release control over the process, control over the specifics, often control over the timelines, and focus more so on the essence of what we desire and allow the universe to coordinate the details. So for example, focusing on the essence of what we want to experience in our work or our lives or our finances or our relationships or our romantic situations or connections. Focusing on the essence and following the feeling, again, getting back to that open heart chakra energy, letting yourself follow the highest feeling and see where that leads you. Like what brings you the most joy now? What brings you the most fulfillment? What makes you feel more connected to your heart? That will lead you into really embodying the essence of the things that you desire and allow you to utilize this 5D energy in the most effective way, because it can really start working through you uninhibited instead of us trying to like control and sort of siphon or push it in certain directions. When we try to control this energy, it's almost like we not only dilute it, but we almost can experience some intense backlash from it because it is a very powerful stream of energy. But when we get into the flow of it and allow ourselves to go with that flow through following our highest energy, our highest happiness, through letting go of the control and the details and the timelines and the specifics, that is when the magic can really start to show up in our lives. And developing an abundance mentality is developing this mindset of openness and lightness and ease and freedom in all areas of our lives. And it's very comprehensive because in these higher planes of existence, like we're in now, that are more 5D based, every area of our lives is increasingly interconnected with every other area of our lives. So, for example, we can't separate out how we feel in our love life from how we feel about our physical body and whether we love and embrace ourselves and nourish ourselves and all of those things. We can't separate our money or our career from our sense of fulfillment in our lives, in other areas, our sense of emotional fulfillment. Everything is so interconnected. And so when we have an abundance mentality, we are working in all areas of our lives to shift our beliefs to align more with this belief in abundance and this belief in our own unlimited nature. And that mutually reinforces every other area of our lives. And again, lets us tap into this higher level magic of the universe that is now available to us in this fifth dimensional space we've risen into in a way that it's never been available before. I mean, we've always had some level of access to it, but we've never had access to it quite like this. It's totally a new earth, a new world that we really are shifting into. But it's also overwhelming, understandably, at times, because if we get on the other side, like trying to push against that powerful current of energy, we will feel the backlash from that. So it's funny because being in Hawaii, I'm looking out and seeing people surfing on the ocean. And that is such a perfect metaphor for working with this energy. It's almost like we're working with powerful currents and waves. And so those waves of energy in this 5D space have the potential to carry us even further and even more powerfully than ever before. But also, if we get crosswise of the current, they have the ability to pull us under even more so than ever before. So it's about learning to ride the waves, learning to float on the surface, which really the idea of floating on the surface of the waves really reminds me of the idea of surrender and letting go, letting ourselves float with the energy, so to speak. So I know I've been on a little bit of a soapbox here, but I'm so passionate about talking about all of these shifts and changes happening for us collectively and how to work with this new energy that we're tapping into. So if you'd like more information on that, let me know in the comments section underneath this video. Let me see if there's anything else I can channel through here before we pull a Rumi Oracle card. Yeah, this is a new beginning for you, even if at times you doubt it, even if at times you feel unsure where it's all going. It's almost like you've been through the chrysalis, you've transformed into the butterfly. Now you have wings, now you can fly, now you have freedom, but it's almost like you're adjusting to it. There's this period of adjustment where you're learning what to do with those wings, what to do with that freedom. And it's almost like a part of you would prefer the stability and the knowingness of like crawling like a caterpillar. I mean, of course, your soul doesn't desire that. Your soul desires to soar and to fly and to spread its wings. But that fear-based part of you may seek out the security that you had as a caterpillar when you were able to just walk on the ground, and that's how you progressed. And that represented this 3D way of being that we're stepping out of, that past version of yourself. But your soul has longed to be a butterfly and chosen to undergo that transformation through the chrysalis. And now you're here. Now you have wings. Now you can fly. So use them. It will take an adjustment phase. It will take time to learn how to float on the air, so to speak, as opposed to crawling on the ground. But you're ready for this. And not only are you ready for it, but there's no going back. You can't untransform yourself from being the butterfly to being back to the caterpillar. And you wouldn't want to even if you could, because you can now fly so much further and so much more effortlessly. It's about learning to harness and work with this new energy that you're tapping into. And the only reason you're able to tap into it is because you were brave enough to go into the chrysalis. You were brave enough to allow the transformation. And now I see that you're reaping the benefits of that transformation, but it's requiring a huge amount of courage and surrender to reap those benefits, to, in essence, teach yourself how to use your own wings, which is so beautiful. Maybe I'll try to incorporate that line in the thumbnail or title of this video. But I am going to close this reading with a Rumi Oracle card. If you do want to continue on with me to the extended version of this reading, where we will be diving deeper into the messages and channeling more information for you, then the link to listen to the extended is in the pinned comment and description box below. You can listen from either YouTube memberships or Patreon, and the readings are identical. And for those of you who do join the memberships, I channel 3 exclusive bonus readings just for members every single week on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So again, that information is below. And the card I pulled here is 1. 1 I seek, 1 I know, 1 I see, and 1 I call. And this is so synchronistic and connected to what we've been talking about as far as this shift into more of this 5D level and also an abundance mentality, because what this card says is no aspect of your life is separate from your spiritual journey. And we just talked earlier about how in this more 5th dimensional space, no part of your life is separate from another, whether it's your material things, success, career, aspirations, love life, your body, your finances, your self-image, your community, all of these things, they're all interconnected. The guidebook here, well, I should say the card, this is the mini edition of the Rumi cards, so they don't have the full guidebook, just condensed messages on the cards. But this says, all is unfolding according to the divine genius, and there is a sweet shift in store for you. Though circumstances may appear dire and you may feel despair, there is an avenue through which fulfillment and resolution will be granted. Peace to you, friend. So that feels like a beautiful place to close this reading. Thank you so much again for tuning in today. If anything connected for you, I would love to hear from you in the comments below. And if you enjoy these readings, be sure to subscribe here on YouTube and turn on notifications so you get notified whenever I post new videos. You can also continue with me to the extended version of this reading by clicking the link in the pinned comment or description box under this video. Otherwise, I am sending you huge amounts of love. Have an amazing day, and I will connect with you here again in the next